Okay, next up is It's Kind of a Funny Story. And you know what? This movie is just that. It is kind of a funny story, but it's also kind of sad, kind of witty, kind of whimsical, and kind of zany, and also kind of dark. The movie's concept is, of course, really kind of actually helps it move along really well. 16-year-old Craig, played by Keir Gilchrist, ends up in a New York City mental ward. He tells the admitting doctors at the ward that he's suicidal, but really he's more pre-suicidal than anything. Casting around in for a usually dramatic way out of his rather undramatic teenage problems, getting into a top college and having a girlfriend. Again, hey, I'm 27 and I have these problems, pal, take a number. I'm sorry. And anyway, what was I going to say? Once inside, he realizes he doesn't want to be there at all. He's like, I thought you guys could do something quick, he says in a really good scene. He's eyeballing the exits, but sadly, due to admitting himself, he's obligated to stay for a bare minimum of 5 days, and off we go in this film. Now, he comes across, I guess you could say, a lot of zany characters. Now, this movie is, before I go any further, is an adaptation of Ned Vizzini's young adult novel, and I haven't read it yet, but I've heard a lot about it. It shares with it, apparently, the central gag that Craig is stuck with adult crazies since the children's psych ward is being remodeled. Now, I've poked at reviews of the book, and it's actually quite good, but this whole contrivance means that Craig gets to befriend a messed up grown-up like Bobby, played by, of course, Hangover star Zach Galifianakis, who, of course, everyone knows from that film, The Hangover. And he actually digs, and I gotta say, Galifianakis digs really deep here in a very emotionally charged performance. Also, at the same time, you meet Craig's roommate, a weird muttering Egyptian named Muqtada. It's kind of weird to pronounce, while at the same time falling for the teenage cutter named Noelle, played by Emma Roberts, always very engaging. And she, of course, is just down the hall. Now, for Craig, he lives under the constant pressure of paternal expectations. Now, usually the normally eased and settled Jim Gaffigan plays his dad as a never-ending just mind, headbanger against the wall, or like this guy just makes you just want to just crack your head so hard against the wall you want it to bleed. And being on psychiatric lockdown is like almost like eHarmony with life lessons here. I guess is the best way to put it. It's in its notion that life in a mental ward can actually really be neat. And even Craig's mom, who's actually played quite well here by Lauren Graham, of course, of Gilmore Girls fame. I'm not going to say she's really finding her element in some of her roles in films lately. She says it seems like it's not in an ironical, not completely ironical sense, but she seems to think it's a nice place. The movie teeters so close to both gooey and at times even almost offensive, but really they keep that balance just like a scale with 3 jelly beans on each, but you just want to put the 4th one. Where do you want to put it? You don't know. Anyway, despite the pleasant and really just zany energy here and great performances, Galifianakis really conjures up a surprisingly sad character, and I grew fond of Gilchrist as the movie went on. You walk out, you walk. Sometimes you just walk out of it shaking your head at this film, but at the same time, you realize you got something from it. Now, I gotta say that this movie, in a way, takes it in a level where really I didn't think it would go. For starters, the makers of this film were also behind the critically lauded Half Nelson and Sugar, both tremendous films. It's kind of a funny story. Actually, it's geared at a different kind of demographic, though. It's squarely at young adults. It's almost like teen romance aspects, like a public service message, or like the cooler hip version of the the middle of the road after school type of dramas or TV movies we see on a Sunday night. And again, those jokes usually become sitcom punchlines or even referenced on a talk show here and there. But really, as bad as they were, can we forget them? No. This movie just kind of has a more pseudo element of that. I gotta say too that it also touches on the seriousness aspects of teen suicide, and it's really a problem that just doesn't seem to be going away. It just seems to be getting worse as time goes on. I gotta say too, I read somewhere, as a Rutgers student, Tyler Clementi's plunge off the George Washington Bridge. It was back on September 22nd, and Massachusetts teen, her name is Phoebe Prince, hanging herself back in January. And the remarkable, the whole deaths in was it the remarkable statistic of deaths out in California last year. There was actually one incident where 5 high school students committed suicide on the tracks of a railroad over the course of, I think it was 7 months. Now, I gotta say too that this movie really touches on those aspects of how serious it can be, and while this kid really doesn't have those problems, but at the same time, it almost reflects in his head that seeing all these people and who they are, really, I think it gets through to him that his problems are just nothing compared to them. And again, the drama here really offsets itself too. There's even a nice little role from Zoe Kravitz, rock singer Lenny Kravitz's daughter. She really does well here, and the whole relationship between them, or the relationship from afar and close eventually, is just so good. And again, there's some infatuation with pop culture and suicide, like in a film like Heathers back in 1989, where her popularity grew because of her supposed suicide. But this is a little different. It touches more on the serious aspects here, but it also has a balance of pleasantness and uplifting among these characters. And I gotta say, I really love the performance. And I think this movie will speak to a lot of teens out there who are having these type of problems. This kid doesn't have those problems, but the idea that he has behind them really resound in this film. So I will give this film 4 stars. It's kind of a funny story. 4 stars out of 5.